This is episode number 827 of the Inner Fight podcast. This week, I am talking 3 trail running myths busted. Where did this come from? I hear a lot of people saying that they can't go trail running. They don't want to go trail running. They're making up a story about trail running that, to be quite frank, is absolute nonsense. The 3 biggest ones, there is a load, which maybe I'll jump into. Maybe it'll be more than 3. Let's see how many I can get through in the next 5 minutes. The number 1 trail running myth that I hear is that people are not fast enough. To be honest, a lot of trail running, especially in the mountains that are, let's call them mountainous, they're going steep up, steep down. There's not a lot of trail running. Actually, this sport, for the most part, could just be called power hiking or hiking in some description. What is the difference? When does hiking become running? We actually had a big discussion about this on a race I was on a while back, and I can't remember because there was no Google. How good is it when you can't Google something? You can actually have a conversation about it. But people are always complaining that they're not fast enough. To be honest, there is no fast enough. Yes, if you're going to do a race, there's going to be cutoffs. But if you just want to go out and enjoy the trails, you define how fast you go. And that's the beauty of trail running, in that if you do get a little bit tired, and this might sound like a really easy out for a lot of people, but it's actually really true. If you do get a little bit tired, you just pull over at a spot that is absolutely beautiful and you can sit down, providing that the weather's pretty good that day, which it is often, but sometimes it rains and often it snows, and it depends if it's dark or whenever you go. Just try and go trail running on a day that's got good weather, or at least in the summer that you increase your chances of having good weather. And you can sit down by a tree, take a picture, and just have a moment. And when you feel good again, you can hop up. You don't need to be super fast or super fit. There does need to be a certain amount of fitness, obviously. However, it's really not what people make it out to be. I think that's an absolute nonsense, and it's a myth that you're not fast enough. You're all fast enough. You're all capable enough. And you know what? Even if you only get halfway up the mountain, you have to turn around and roll back down. That'll probably give you motivation to get a little bit fitter or a little bit stronger for when you go again. Number 2 trail myth that I hear is that I do not have the equipment, which is just giving me an idea for a 5-Minute Mondays. I am going to do another show, or I will do another show, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, talking about the equipment that I have. And yes, there are probably half a dozen things, but honestly, you probably have them in your house. Things like trainers, things like shorts, a t-shirt, maybe a cap, maybe some sunglasses, maybe a water bottle. You do not need all the flash equipment that people like Rob Jones are constantly posting. You don't even really need a GPS watch. You can use your phone to find where you're going, which leads into point 3 in a minute. So I'll leave that one for the time being. But it is a myth that you don't have the right equipment. It's only in the modern era, where there is so much equipment that is marketed to us, that people start to think that they really don't have enough equipment. If you've got a pair of shoes, if you've got an old pair of hiking boots, you've got what it takes to go out and enjoy the mountains. Yes, if you get more into it, then I definitely recommend you get some more specific equipment, which is going to make it a little bit more comfortable in certain instances. Things like backpacks that are loose fitting are going to end up giving you a lot of chafe. There are a lot of options out there for a lot better fitted backpacks, but why spend $100, $200 on a backpack for trail running when you're not really sold on it yet? Wait like 2 weeks or till you've been twice, when you become an absolute nerd, and then you can spend all of your hard-earned money on the equipment. But do not have enough equipment. That's a myth. That's not an excuse for not getting out and enjoying the trails. And the third thing, which I touched on briefly there, is that you don't know where to go. If you have an iPhone or an Android, sorry about the Android users, if you have an iPhone, then you know where to go. There are a number of apps, which I'll reel off now. There's an app called Google Maps. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of it, but that's super useful for going places. I know you've all heard of it. Calm down. However, there's more geeky trail running apps as well, which are GPS enabled. There are things like Gaia Maps. I think that evil one that people get too hung up about, the Facebook for endurance athletes. No, Strava. I think that one will help you with navigation as well. There's an app called All Trails. There's an app called, or a site called Komoot. There's also Garmin have their own navigation system. Sunto has its own navigation system where you can plot various trails. And there is, what's the other one that I'm looking for? Wikiloc, I nearly forgot that one. I'm so confident in these, I didn't even write them down. Wikiloc is absolutely awesome. You turn your phone on GPS where you are, and it will tell you within the area who has done a route. It will also, if that person is a really good person, they will have done a review of the route that they've done. So they'll tell you if it's hard, they'll tell you how long it took. So there is really no excuse not to know where to go. Those apps, you can get them all on your phone. Wikiloc, you can get on your phone. All Trails, FatMap, Google Maps, Gaia Maps, Garmin, Sunto, you can get them all on your phone. And as long as you have a connection, and even for a lot of them, for things like Gaia, you do not actually even need a connection, a data connection. You can still use it when you're on the go. So excuse number 3 is an absolute myth that you don't know where to go. Your phone, which you use all day, every day, will help you. There are 3 trail running myths totally busted. Get out there and enjoy the trails. Thanks a lot for listening.